Welcome to the second round of the Trackmania Elite Cup for 2026. I'm Thomas Mengos, aka G-Geek, alongside the one and only Lucas Turbo, aka Kai Ludwig. Thank you very much for joining us. And Kai, it's safe to say that if you were not there last week,
Let's quickly go into the format because 64 players go into the Elite Cup server. 50-minute qualifying window. You need to set a time within the first 10 minutes to be able to play at this cup. Then you have 5 minutes time to improve, and then the best time will determine your position. Then players are ranked by their quali time, and the top 64 goes into the Elite Cup. And then the knockout starts, and as opposed to Cup of the Day, now we have 2 KOs from 64 to 17 players, and then there will be 1 KO onwards from 16 to 2 players remain. And we have already seen it last week. 1 mistake can end your run, so we already talked about that beforehand. The top 8 from the total ranking, where 5 results from those 10 do count. The top 8 will qualify to the eSport World Cup directly. Top 16 qualifies to the eSport Nations Cup, 1 player per nation, and the top 5 best results to count. I already talked about that. Let's go into the seeding here, Geek. 50 minutes of time, and let's see what will happen here.
Yeah, currently Mudda going through the last few jumps, and he will be one of the early pace setters on his particular server. Just as a reminder, this is only one of many. Right now it is Mudda with the early pace set on 107.395. Banks is currently the top pace setter with a .201. The current cutoff is fairly low, a 108.9, but that is not going to be guaranteed to stay for that long.
I'm very much looking forward to see how the times are looking like here eventually, as Mudda just tries to finish his next run. And let's see if he can survive the identity. Very hard to do this one. You can go for a slight nosedive there, that is for sure. But it's very hard to do.
0.6 already.
Yes, indeed, Mudda does improve. Very nice.
0.6 already, a 0.6988, which is just 3 milliseconds off of the world record from Epos. Wow. We are currently following along with Mudda, who's trying to get a little bit of an improvement on there, maybe looking to get into the mid-.9s. Nah, he lost a lot of the exit. That's a very long right-hander in checkpoint number 4 in the dirt. So we're going to go into the last 30 seconds of the round. This is going to be the last few rounds, the last attempts that everybody gets here. Tona now on the hot seat on the .708. This is going to be a little bit touch and go now for some of these guys. Mudda will be crossing the finish line just to get a little bit of his eye in, and he's on a .414. I think this is a pretty good round time to start off things. The first elimination round, the bottom 2, 63rd and 64th, will be knocked out at the end of this opening round. Let's take a look a bit at the forces to be reckoned with. People like Neil, there is the Motivator in there. You see Mine from Team Navi also in there towards the tail end of the field. Right now, Epos taking a little bit more of a laid-back approach right now, but maybe not too laid back, as we do see Key with a very, very hefty clip on the platform before they jump into checkpoint 4. Relinquish that place. Letster with a clip at the top of the second dirt jump before checkpoint number 8, and the team captain from Team Germany in the TM games is going to be out of the running almost. Birdie getting a little bit left by the wayside before the half pipe, and actually it's almost half and half between the strategies. Neil going way high onto the third quarter pipe. Elcon will win the first round with a .355. Who is the first eliminated? It will be Baywhack is out. Demotivator is out. A lot of chaos already in the first round. What happened to Gwen? He was forced to respawn a little bit earlier on as well, and that could be yet another big upset in the making. We're going to be focusing along with Onyo, who's trying to catch up to his fellow compatriot Letster, trying to fight for yet one more round, and someone's completely stopped in the final quarter pipe. Onyo survives yet one more round. It's Noncore who's out of the race.
Huge eliminations in this round, and
Coco, who's going to be biting along with Binks, as we do see Snow with a bit of a 2-wheel time on the way into the platform, so that's going to be freeing up one spot. Tweed fighting for survival along with Chenko. He, Flimsy is in there as well. Nightic as well. Josh and Snow. Nobody is safe as we go into the identity. What happened there to one of the players? Are we seeing any respawns there, Kai?
Yeah, but I just thought that Otak might have less speed here, but it's Wizzy actually slowing down dramatically. But it's almost impossible to tell who's gonna get eliminated, but it's Orneo who gets knocked out here.
Are there gonna be any big mistakes? Flimsy slowed down dramatically. Razi is down to P41, but he's battling for survival along with Sera. Flimsy is 3/10 down, might be completely out of it by the time we go towards the identity. Let's go to follow all cam once again. Flimsy, you can see him already a little bit of a ways down. Can he try to actually catch back up? Brand going for the alternative strategies. Wizzy slowing down dramatically as well. Shuffle to the back of the field. Azion also slowing down. Is there any opportunity for Wizzy to make it through? No. And Wizzy is out with Flimsy as well. Mola on the hot seat survives to round 14.
We are round 17 out of 40 deep, so there's still plenty of Trackmania to be played, but Granadi here, by the looks of it, not with a good performance in the previous round, but was still able to survive it. But I mean, in some rounds, and especially in the next couple of rounds, you want to avoid those kind of mistakes, but they do always happen. But in some rounds, nobody crashes the outside dirt, and in some rounds, there's 4, 5, 6 players crashing it. It's sometimes a bit luck-based, of course, but that's how it is. And look who's a bit further behind here. It is Bren, but gets a very good outside line here and overtakes a lot of players. But I've seen a mistake there happening from Bestie and also Legu and Carl
Tween
Jr.
as well. Tween a very heavy landing. Tween a very heavy
Tween.
landing. Sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, basically Bestie was all the way towards the outside wall, all the way towards checkpoint number 7, and thus will be sent down. But then Tween having an absolute shocker of a landing towards checkpoint 8, and he's going to have to hope for mistakes for some people up front in the final part. The identity to half 5, it's not going to happen. Tween is going to get knocked out. Bestie as well tried everything he could, but ends up getting pit by both Legu and Niko. We're down to top 32, going on to round number 21, following along with Jan, the Slovenian player from Team Eterna, currently sitting in P26, but right in the ballpark, right along with the high-speed train. Mola getting shuffled to the back of the field, same for Granada. Jan going a bit close to the right side of the car with the right rear as well, to the right side wall rather, and we go over the jumps. Are there any mistakes this time? No, it's just Evon looking a little bit slow on the uptake, and we'll be losing a lot of time. 7/10 of a second compared to the lead, and currently 4/10 down on the safe haven of P24, currently battling between Worker, Roadtaker, and Xera. Let's take a look at the helicopter cam to see if there's any big mistakes at the identity and the transfer. And Bren is on the hot seat. Bren is getting knocked out. Nitek is through along with Paco, Worker, Xera, and so on. Bren from Twisted Minds gets knocked out early in P25.
The match is slowly but surely picking up the pace because we have 22 players left, and that means that we have just 3 more rounds with 2 eliminations coming into play, and then onwards it will only be 1 elimination. But let's see who it's going to be. Elcon and Nitek, not with the best start. Elcon going quite wide in this corner there, trying to get as much speed as possible by also not jumping too far, trying to minimize airtime here in this sector, getting a good nose side, but Elcon's still behind here by 0.4 of a second, but he definitely has the pace to work it out. Nitek with a good approach. Carl Jr. almost hitting the barrier there. How is he able to see that in camera 3? But Elcon catching back up. Nitek slightly slowing down there, and also the jump here from, I think it was Worker, or was it Worker, or I think
it was
might
indeed
have been,
Worker.
Worker.
And Scrappy as well is completely missed up the landing, and both will be out in a perennial manner unless there is a huge crash at the identity, where I was going to be focusing a bit on Carl Jr., who's toward the tail end of the leading group, but the 7-time world champion is going to be making it through just fine. Mola towards the tail end as well. Worker with a huge stop pick. Worker and Scrappy, 21st and 22nd. Roadtaker taking the round win with a .584.
You know, you need to be lucky in some of those rounds, that is for sure, but I want Mola now to win it. You know, that would be so cool to see, like a complete dark horse taking it home. Of course, Mola has improved significantly in 2025, as he now again is on a not that good of a position. He's on P19, gets the job done here, but gets overtaken by Mudda here up to P19. He goes back again, overtaking Mudda, but Mudda with more speed in this sector here. It all comes down to this first part here. This part that comes up after that, this small bump here, was also used on Halfpipe, but we see a mistake in Halfpipe in 2020, and it's Carl Jr. who has made a mistake. So Carl is behind, as well as Snow, and also Carl not with the best line there, so Snow is catching up. But I think now Mola's time has come here to say bye-bye. Still a stellar performance from the Swede here, but let's see who will also get eliminated here. Carl versus Snow. Snow slightly clipping though, and I think he will not have as much speed as Carl for the ending, and Snow will indeed be eliminated. Carl lives another day, and well, I mean, also a good time. 108.3 is not too bad with a slight mistake.
Elcon actually getting overtaken by Nitek, maybe towards the line. No, Elcon saves himself by the skin of his teeth, and it will be the end of the day, it looks like, for Heave, the man who finished 6th in the previous round in China 2026. Afi looks to have messed up. Indeed, the Swiss driver is out of the running with that mistake, that clip on the way into the identity. And with that, Carl Jr., that's a name we haven't seen in the top spot for a while. 0.375. He takes the round win.
So here we are, still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 French players in, and then we have 2 players from Great Britain, from England, Epos and Josh, and then Elcon, of course, holding up the Czech Republic flag. Roadtaker also still in, the best Polish player in this round here, and then Paco and Mudda in there as well as Carl Jr. So you love to see that, but let's focus on this round here, as Nico is currently in last, but I do think that it's still everything is to play for here in this round, Geek.
Yeah, it's still all to play for, and you can see that all the bottom 4 are regrouped within almost each other's ghosts, so it's still very much wide open to see who makes it through to top 11 or who gets sent out in the top 12 as we go over the secondary jump. Oh, a little bit of a teetering exit from Elcon, who goes so close to hitting the outside wall, keeps it on the road, keeps it pinned, and also sprints away from Zera as well. A 3/10 gap in favor of the man from Team Nemesis as we go onto the pipes. Are there going to be any significant clips ahead? Xera, Elcon looking to be a bit slow. Paco with a hefty clip. Paco will be eliminated. The Hungarian player, formerly of Team Nemesis, is out in P12, 8/10 down over the eventual round leader, Roadtaker, once again.
On this map, I think driving consistent is quite hard duty, because you know you need to push in the end, and if you don't do so, you lose a lot of speed. And I mean, the line going 3 times to the right side, it makes a lot of sense. It's quite hard to do, of course. If you get skid marks there, you're gonna slow down, but you travel less distance, and that's how it is faster. Nico, 11th position right now, last in this round, is half a second behind Epos, the leader here. And the Roadtaker, again, doing fantastic in this round, is on second place here, but Nico with a great outside dirt line, and Elcon jumping so far to the left there, and I think he didn't have a good gear in the landing, and Elcon right now the last in this pack here. Let's see what Elcon is able to do in the ending. Is he able to overtake 1 or maybe even 2 players in the ending? Maybe he already needs to rely on a mistake, but Elcon makes a mistake himself, clipping a little bit, but there's a couple of players who also have little speed. Nico, but I don't think it will be enough, and Elcon will be eliminated.
One thing that I want to point out is with that round result, Nico is guaranteed back-to-back top 10s. The man from...
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is an insanely good showing in the early part of the season for Nico, who, well, he doesn't have the tag, but I think he's from Team Loading. I wonder if there's a situation that happened there or something that unfolded that we didn't exactly catch, but the Frenchman looking to be very, very sharp at this first part of the season here in the Trackmania Elite Cup of 2026, as we're going to go along with Azion, now sitting in the hot seat in 10th position, going on to checkpoint 6, then the long left-hander downhill towards checkpoint 7. Great line, great speed from Azion, as this time it's Roadtaker who's going to be a little bit in hot water. Lega clipping the top of the barrier. Nico and Azion slowing down together, and it seems as though it was exactly the same as Elcon had with the back gear. I think he let it down in 3rd gear, and that's completely what hampered his all momentum for Elcon, and both for Nico and Azion as well, as we go onto the pipes. Going through the helicopter camera, Nico looking a bit slow on the uptake, going for the conventional strategy. Azion not able to capitalize on that, and Azion will be knocked out, and Nico improves his result from last week with a guaranteed top 9 by the end of this round. Mudda takes the win with a .475.
it looks like we have another close fight that is brewing up here. Lego and Nico currently on the hot seat here. Nico going so insanely close there to the wall, is able to get it through. Road Taker, I don't think he has good speed here for the landing to work with. Lego will come closer, but it all comes down to the identity. It's 0.2 of a second between all of those 9 players here, and it's very important for the point jump here that happens in the next round. You want to make it into the top 7 if you already went that far into the tournament. Let's see who's going to make it into the free camera. It is Road Taker clipping though. Road Taker with a slowdown. Carl and Binks also not with the best of identities, and Yosh clipping as well, but Yosh still in, and Road Taker gets eliminated on 9th positions.
Down to the top 8 we go now with round 34 out of 40, which is now underway. Following along with Josh, the man from Team Mobo, of course, currently flying the flag high for the UK, for the United Kingdom, along with Epos as well. We haven't been focusing about him too much because he has been, if you're basically, well, quote unquote silent, you're invisible compared to what we see on the screen. This is basically this is a very good thing. This means that you're actually doing the rounds and you're actually playing the format of knockout. Although this time he's gonna have to turn up the heat a little and try to crank out some rounds, as we are currently sitting along with him. And Xera with a hefty crash on the outside wall before checkpoint number 7 will probably save Epos' bacon. Yeah, Xera is way too far down to be able to make any kind of inroad whatsoever. He's gonna have to wait until the pipes ring the bell to see if there's anybody clipping very heavily, or if there is a slowdown for the top 7. Going for the helicopter camera, Mudda streaking away in the lead, a 10.5 ahead of the nearest pursuant in terms of Binks. Binks with a very hefty clip. Xera maybe with an opening. And back-to-back clips for Binks. Binks gets knocked out. The man who finished 2nd last week is bumped from the field in the top 8. Mudda takes the win with 1.535, and we are down to 3 French players left in the top 7.
Who's gonna get first place? You know, if it's Mudda, well, then Binks will probably stay on 2nd place. But I think it's too early to tell because Epos was not in top 10 so far. Xera was also not in top 10. The only 2 players who were in top 10 so far were Nico and Mudda. 1st and 10th position in there, and then we have just in the top 7. I mean, in the players that are still left. 2 players were in the top 10 previously. So good performance from Nico and Mudda. For me, definitely players to look out for the next steps as well. They look very, very much prepared. And let's see who gets eliminated here. Xera was, of course, a bit lucky in the previous round. Has 200 points guaranteed. And that was an okay line from him as well. Has to readjust quite a bit. Loses a bit of exit speed there with his alignment, so he's now on that last position, being roughly 0.1 of a second behind. Make it just a couple of hundreds now into this part, and I think there was another clip coming into play from either of the players, and it was Josh who's having to respawn, and Josh is quite far behind, so he will be eliminated. And also look at the time from Mudda as well, a 107.354. That is a good winning time.
Down to the top 6 now. It's starting to get a little bit more cramped at the very top. Mudda, Epos, Leger, Carl, Xera, and Nico currently still in the hunt. I mean, we're talking about Nico, but Xera is really, really standing out to me as he had some pretty solid performances. And as soon as we highlight them, Caster Curse right on cue. Crash zooms onto Xera, clipping on the apex of checkpoint number 2, and thus will be relegated to almost a second down compared to 5th placed Legu. But I see you guys in the chat saying 07 XDDs, but wait until sector
Not yet.
Never say it's over until the checkered flag has been reached, until the finish line has been reached, because especially in that 3rd sector, havoc can ensue. You can see Leger losing a little bit of speed, and Xera starting to make this fight back. And look at Leger, he's completely shaking. He has completely lost the plot, and we can see Xera making a comeback effort. We're gonna have to go for the identity and the pipes. Look, already Xera moving up into the lead. He has to actually make it picture perfect and have more speed than Leger. Nico slowing down as well. It's a 3-way fight for survival between the French players, and Leger gets knocked out. Xera briefly missed, brushing the wall. I said, don't count it on until sector 3, and sure enough, Xera takes the top 5.
Xera gains some momentum in the last rounds and finds himself in the top 5. So definitely a great result here for the French player, as we now have 5 players left. Now the money jump is the money jump not yet. It comes only on the 27th, 28th, and 29th of March in Birmingham. The point jump is now 100 points from 5th to 4th position. 4th position is guaranteed 500 points, and 5th position will go home with 400 points. So still a lot of points to go home with, but if you run that far into the tournament, you want to get some points into play. And look who's right now in last position. It is Carl Jr. for Team Falcons, who faces elimination, but there's still the identity left, and we see a mistake. A no slide from Epos, and Epos with a tremendous mistake will not have any speed to work with, and he will accompany his fellow countryman Josh here into the spectating booth and will end up with a 5th place finish. A player alongside Mudda who set the sub 107 time during the qualification. Nico Xera versus Mudda and Carl Jr. So 2 Frenchmen versus 1 Australian and 1 Canadian player.
Kai, I think we've been upstaged by chat. I think they're cursing more than we do at this stage, as Epos unfortunately went a bit too early and pinballed his way from one wall to the other, forcing himself to respawn, and thus the world record holder will finish 5th in this running of the Elite Cup here on France 26. After the start, it will be Nico, who had a bit of a 2-wheel time on the way into the platform. He had a bit of a slow exit of the dirt, but again, watch from sec 0.6 onwards. It is going to be an absolute barn burner. There can be a lot of chaos ensuing. Currently, it is Xera holding onto the top 3. Look at the line from Nico. Carl Jr. also looking a bit slow.
Wow.
Going onto the double jump. Are there going to be any mistakes? No, everybody clears it, but this time it's the 7-time world champion, this player from Team Falcons, currently on the hot seat, looking to potentially get bumped before even fighting for the podium. As we go onto the pipes with the identity, following along with the helicopter cam, which is nice and close. Xera going for the right side, going for the alternative strategy, and Carl Jr. will be bumped out, will not even get onto the podium. It will be France versus Australia. Mudda wins the round with a 0.615. Xera and Nico onto the podium guaranteed. It's turning out to be a stellar day for these two.
So let's take a look here into this penultimate round number 39 of 40. It's safe to say that Mudda looks absolutely strong here. He looks like the player to beat, but it can all be done. Oh my god, Xera almost failed it there within 1 round here, and now Nico attacking Mudda, having less exit speed there, but it's all to play for here in the ending. Let's take a look. Nico, very aggressive inside line, does not trip there. Xera gets it very nicely here. And both players, both Frenchies going so wide there in the dirt turn, and Mudda falling behind. Mudda crumbling here, but hitting the barrier there and getting some extra speed out of it. That was an illegal line for Mudda. How did he get away with that one? And he's back into the top 2. Xera half a second behind, and he has slowed down dramatically, and we might have a final from the players who have reached top 10 in both steps so far. It is Nico versus Mudda here for the 1,000 points, and Mudda also setting a statement of winning this round here, 600s ahead of him.
France versus Australia. It is Nico versus Mudda. Mudda, of course, the winner from last week's event in China 2026. Nico, who finished in P10 and has a bit of a revenge to take after the events of last week. Moving on to the start, it will be the whole shot for Mudda with a 10.115. But of course, here, it's not so much about the big mistakes that can happen. That will be from checkpoint 6 onwards. The start of sector 3, Nico going the same way as Xera, going a little bit low on the jump. Oh, he barely avoids the cliff, slides out just in the nick of time, but he has a bit less speed on the way into the platform. Mudda takes advantage of the situation to move back up into the lead of the race. Checkpoint 6, here we go. This is where the money time happens. Here on this particular round, Mudda going for the side-to-side jump. Nico going for the safer approach. It's going to be Mudda emerging in the lead by about 1/10 of a second. It's going to take one mighty identity, one mighty half-pipe jump from Nico to actually overtake the current standings. Later, we go onto the pipes, both going for the going side by side. Who gets the fastest? It's Nico in the lead by the seconds of Argent. Is it going to be enough at the stripe? No! Mudda goes back-to-back wins in the elite.
Back-to-back, baby. Let's go. Holy moly. That was so much more stressful than last week. Back-to-back. Oh, I enjoyed that one. I enjoyed that one more than last week. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, and my chat's frozen. It's going too fast. Oh, yes. Oh, I wanted that one. I really wanted that one. 0 mistakes. I mean, I had small errors, but 0 mistakes, 0 respawns. I'm so happy about that. And I played that perfectly. But my god, that's a stressful map.